So what I want to do now is, on that note, I want to go now straight away to our next speaker. That was really fantastic from Tina and Charles there. So it's a good point in proceedings to introduce their upline, which some of you may know. So let's bring on Peter here. Peter.
Good evening, Neil. Good evening, everyone. It's wonderful to see you all.
Good evening. You must be absolutely over the moon with the two speakers this evening.
Neil, I'm beaming with proud. I feel a little bit emotional. I mean, you can't help not be when you see people who are so diligently doing what they do and making such a difference and making a difference in their own lives. It makes me beam with pride, you know, and I get quite emotional when I see it. And tonight, I mean, wow, what can I say?
Well, I wanted to say as well that I also want to congratulate you on your best months in doTERRA so far yourself. And obviously that is a big team effort, but it's really fantastic. I think you're up to about 112, 113,000, something like that. Maybe it's a bit more now, I don't know. It's changing by the hour. So
it is.
I want to keep track of it, but that's really fantastic for you and everyone in your team as well. So well done to you. So I wanted to get you on tonight because I thought it would be a really good time just to talk about maybe some basic fundamentals and things that people can do, let's say in the next, say 60 days. We talk about 90 days quite often, but we're coming into now what are usually the best months of the year. So November last year was our best month last year. You're actually on 112,600 right now. So looks like you might finish on, I don't know, 115, 120, which is absolutely amazing. But we're coming now into, so we had an absolutely amazing October, but then it's going to get even better into November. We know that from our 2 years experience in the business.
We do.
So what things would you say people on this call should be doing or could be doing in November and December to really have a fantastic finish to the year?
Okay. All right, Neil. So I appreciate that there are people on this call, some people who are more seasoned. Okay, in other words, you're already aware of the different processes, and then of course there are new people who are just stepping into it. So if I may, what I'd like to do is focus initially on, you know, people who have been in maybe a few weeks, maybe a few months, or maybe a little bit longer and are a bit more familiar with the processes and kind of have some work in progress. Okay, and I think that the first and most important thing is as a month comes to an end, win, lose or draw, whatever your results were, you know, it's a blank canvas. So you're stepping into a new month, and it's just like when it comes to New Year. Okay, people make their New Year's resolution. Look, it's just another day. It kind of goes from December to January, but people can make some kind of mental application to themselves, and they kind of draw a psychological line in the sand, and they say, right, here we go, new year, new start, new you. Well, I think that we can take what it is that we clearly do in January, and we can put that into any new month, Neil. Mm-hmm. So I think, given that we know historically that November is the biggest month of the year, I think anyone that doesn't make that psychological decision, you know, in terms of like, right, here we go, roll up the sleeves, you know, and what really, as much as what Charles and Tina have kind of said, they made a decision, you know, that they were going to up their game. Okay, so that anyone can do that, you know, and I only say make that decision if you're willing to actually see it through. Okay, because Charles and Tina didn't just up their game when they felt like it, because it's easy to say something when you feel like it. It's much more difficult to follow through when you don't feel like it, okay? Or when things ain't going well.
Okay, so give us some specifics.
Okay, so I think the first thing that I would do now that we've created the right thought process, and I think that's important because it precedes the action, okay? So now, rightly so, Neil, I think 3 of the people that I actually got into the business in this current month were people that I reached out to who were from leads I'd generated in South Africa that I'd spoken to before we'd launched. So the number one has got to be anyone who has any South African leads. You got to reach out to them again and let them know that we are live, we are on the ground, we are open for business. And it's like, did you know? Are you still interested? Would you like to, have a little chat? Would love to discuss it further if you want to know more. So that's number one. Reach out to all of your old leads because there's something significant changed. We were in pre-launch and we're not. We're live now. We're on the ground. So that's something significant, and tangible that you can go back to. And I brought in 3 people this month specifically from that action. So that's number one.
Okay.
Okay. So number 2 is I would look at all of the people who said that they wanted to come onto a class. And we all know that people live busy lives and sometimes people book onto a class and they don't always turn up. Okay. I defy anyone to tell me that 100% people turn up 100% of the time. It does not happen. But because we're kind of busy being busy, after about a week, you and I have talked about this, Neil. Sometimes people ring us and we think, who are you? Because so go back over everybody, and I've actually started doing that. Okay, I've started going through everybody. I've got a separate file. Okay, and I've started going through everyone who had booked onto a class, and I'm going through, and it's amazing how many people we accumulate.
Yeah.
And just so you know, Darlene Stein twice didn't turn up for a class. Now, that is an important point because some people might have thought the first time she didn't turn up for a class, okay, so they reach out and they book another time. The second time someone doesn't turn up for a class, this person's a time waster, okay?
No.
But clearly, I kept the communications open. I kept reaching out. I appreciate people live busy lives. I don't take it personally. I don't think they suddenly stop being interested in essential oils, just because they didn't turn up for a class. Of course not. Something's cropped up. Stop getting so paranoid. It's like, they live busy lives. You know what I mean? So, I don't worry about it. I just keep reaching out to people, If anyone found my phone, Neil, if I lost my phone, they think, bye. He's a popular lad. Because I must have about 4,000 contacts in that phone. So, let's just bring it back. Anyone who hasn't booked onto a class, who booked onto a class and didn't turn up, or anyone who came onto a class and didn't join, reach out to them. Craft a little message. Speak to your sponsor if you're not quite sure exactly what to say. But contact them. There's no 2 ways about that.
Okay, do you agree that so what we said so far is that you should recontact all your old leads, but specifically the people that didn't show up for classes, like Lee. But also, what about recontacting the contact list, the actual warm list?
Do you know, Neil, that's funny you should say that, because I think it's of course one of the first steps that we recommend people do when they first join, and usually, people have launched on social media, within the first 24 to 48 hours, and we actually have people starting to reach out to people in their contact list. But I'll put it to you that sometimes when you first start reaching out to people, your belief isn't rock solid. You're just new. You're just stepping in. You're probably not as familiar with the processes. You maybe didn't send things as you should have sent them. The point being is now that you've got more experience in the business, you've got more experience with the oils, you've got your confidence, your belief levels are different, you're much more organized, you're familiar with the processes. Now is the time to go back to the people that you may have previously approached that you probably didn't do it very well. You didn't do it right. You didn't do it in the most effective way. You didn't, maybe it's when, they said something, you retracted from it, and you didn't invite them onto a class, or you didn't send whatever. Do it now because you're in a position of greater level of experience, more higher levels of confidence. So reach out to those people again for sure.
Okay, that's good. So we've had the contact list, previous leads, people that didn't show up for classes. Recontact all of those people. Let's talk about advertising.
Neil, I've got another one. I've got another one before you move on advertising. I've got another one.
Go on. Hurry up.
Okay, here's the thing. This is what I do, right? Because we have lots of conversations through WhatsApp, and I think we may probably mention this a little bit later because it's so vital.
Yeah, coming on to that.
But I go through my WhatsApp and I sit there and I scroll through and I click on anybody that I've had any dialogue with. Now, we might send some people information and we get zero response. And we send them something else as a reminder and we, again, may not get zero response. I can look back over some of my inquiries and I can see that despite 4, 5, 6 messages that might span over a period of however long, there's zero response. Not one acknowledgement like, oh, thanks, Peter, I'll take a look, or anything like that. Go back over the people who have in some way entered into a dialogue. Thanks very much. I'll take a look. I'm a bit busy at the moment. I'll do it later. Thanks very much. Yes, I could be interested. Look back over anyone. Just scroll back through, scroll. And anybody who's entered into any dialogue with, reach out to those. They're going to be somebody that I would bring up to the, because they've taken the time to acknowledge some communication. And that means there's already a little bit more of a rapport than somebody who hasn't. And I would definitely focus on those. And I've been doing that for quite a while, and it really does work.
Okay. So, where were we? So, yes, let's talk about, you mentioned it actually, in 60 seconds, mine now. 60 seconds.
Okay, 60 seconds.
Tell us a bit more about WhatsApp. Tell us what you think of WhatsApp. Tell us the key elements of WhatsApp.
Neil, I absolutely love WhatsApp. For me, it is the absolute key to communication. It's the key to all of our systems. People live busy lives. You know, emails don't always get through. People don't like taking phone calls that come in solicited and they don't recognize the phone number. On WhatsApp, you can send a message. You can see someone's got the message. You can speak to someone around the world, you know, and it doesn't cost you anything because you can communicate on Wi-Fi and have a live conversation as long as there's Wi-Fi. Okay, you can send a little audio message. Oh my God, if there's one thing I do every day, probably more than anything else, the amount of audio messages I send, and that's just a deleem. The amount of audio messages I send every day, but to prospects, and it's just like a little bit of an encouragement. I'll literally say, oh, hi, Mary, thanks for getting back to me. It'd be wonderful if you've got, 5 minutes spare sometime. Little voice notes, short, sweet, friendly, warm little voice notes. I can send picture messages. This is the key to everything that we do with targeted audience ads, whether it be from the ad pool, whether it be from our own ads that we're doing ourselves. If we couldn't use WhatsApp, we would have to go back to the drawing board. It is amazing. It's up there with me, for me, with oxygen. That was 65 seconds.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. That was pretty good, actually. That was, by your standards, that was pretty quick. So, WhatsApp is key. It is really.
It is.
Now, do you remember, if you cast your mind back, when we first got started, when I invited you into the business and you said you weren't doing it and you said it was like a girly thing and you weren't going to do it? Remember that, right?
Yeah.
And you started to grapple with new systems, and then I looked into things like targeted advertising. But before that, I think it was before that, you suggested we target therapists.
Yes.
And do you agree with me that over the last couple of years, because we've done so well at targeted audience advertising, we've probably been a bit guilty of neglecting what was actually a very effective area in contacting holistic therapists? So I wanted to get your feedback on that.
Well, Neil, I've had a resurgence of enthusiasm, and you're absolutely quite right. It was when we first joined the business, before we put in place the systems that we have, as you rightly say, we weren't 100% sure what we were going to do, how we were going to do it. We just knew we were going to do it, right? But we didn't know exactly how. And we were strategizing, and we were looking at what we could do, and we were kind of pressing a few different buttons to see what would work. And we very quickly realized the importance of target audience advertising. But it wasn't before we first started reaching out to therapists. And the reason why we decided to start reaching out to therapists was because there is a natural synergy between doTERRA, the offering, you know, in how really therapists can embrace what it is that we have to offer, and it just is a very natural fit. It adds value more often enough than, you know, because of the services they provide, so it adds more value to their existing clients. And I think something else that's interesting is that everyone who has a customer base, let's say a therapist, they've got lots of customers, their customers are their competitors' target audience. So everyone wants the customers. Everybody wants people who buy or have these services, and if they could get them to come to them, people would steal them away. So you have to be one step ahead. You have to always be looking for ways that you can add value. And I believe that, you know, because doTERRA is relatively new and most people haven't heard of doTERRA, you know, we have an amazing opportunity to introduce them to doTERRA so that they can offer these to their clients. In addition, we all know that there's a lot of challenges right now around the world in terms of, you know, world economies. In South Africa is a perfect example of that. We've got some wonderful, high caliber, you know, entrepreneurs who are joining doTERRA because they are looking to be able to, you know, increase their income stream because of either challenges they're having or insecurities that they're having, or they can see challenges that lie ahead and they're trying to, you know, put some fixes in place. So I believe that entrepreneurs, and remember, entrepreneurs are people who've just stepped away from being employed. An entrepreneur is a one-man band, someone who steps away and says, hey, I'm going to take responsibility. These people have already got, you know, entrepreneurial attitudes. They've stepped away, they take responsibility, they understand the power of investment, they understand the power of adding value. Okay, they think differently to most people. And we have an opportunity to reach out to these people. Now, a perfect example of that even is likes of Darlene, okay, professional people, you know, and who are open to something that synergizes with their beliefs and adds value to what they're already doing. And you can see, and we've experienced what an impact that can have when you introduce people of this caliber, how it can, if we look at it in doTERRA terms, how it can completely expedite the business. So I absolutely believe that we can reach out to people who fall into this category of therapists, okay, and it's a vast arena of people, but we can reach out to them. Now, when we first start doing it, Neil, you will know this, when we first started doing it, you and I, we both did it. We went out in the local area and we knocked on doors, did we not?
We did.
We compare our experiences, okay, and we used to go in with samples and we used to try to get an opportunity to sit down with people, and we chatted to them, and we had presenters with us, and it wasn't easy, Neil. I wouldn't say it was easily duplicatable. You and I could do it, but could everyone do it? Perhaps, but was everybody comfortable enough to take the step? Perhaps not. And we thought, okay, let's send emails and see if we can try and get them to watch some videos. And then we found that the emails, a lot of them were going into spam, or they were getting inundated with emails, and that wasn't really working that well. So what we realized was there was a lot of gravity in it, but we hadn't quite cracked the code on the best way to do it. We knew it was the right thing to do, but we didn't quite know the best way to do it. That was more duplicatable, because if it's more simple, it's more duplicatable. So then, as we continue to look for the way forward, we of course stepped into Facebook targeted advertising, and the rest is history. So the therapists got a little bit sidelined, even though we never stopped believing in the opportunity. Now, more recently, I decided to get behind it again. I did a live on it. And it was as a result of Darlene coming into the business. I thought, no, come on. Now that we've developed WhatsApp and we know how powerful that is, we know we need to be reaching out, we know we need it to be simple, and then all of a sudden the way forward has become clear again. It's funny how that works. All of a sudden it's become clear. And that clarity comes in, we just go onto Google, we do a search, It brings up lots of people, their businesses, their websites, their Facebook pages. We click on them. In most cases, people actually have their mobile contact number. What do? We add it onto WhatsApp in the same way that we do with the targeted ads. And we know how effective it is with targeted ads. So all of a sudden now we found the way through. So now we add them as a contact in our WhatsApp. We have a perfectly crafted little message. We've already put that in the Facebook group. I've already put it there. We've already shown people what to say, what to do. All you've got to do now is just be consistent enough to do 5, 6, 7 every day.
Yeah.
And you can see that they've seen the message. If they don't come back to you, you can send another little message. You can send a little audio. You can send a picture message. You can invite them to come onto a class. It's perfect. So I believe now the people who get behind that, whilst it's still going to be a numbers game, there's no two ways about it, it's still going to be a numbers game. But when you get one of these numbers to join, you're going to be smiling because they're already of a caliber that is more likely to pick it up and run with it.
And I suppose it's worth mentioning at this point that if we're talking, let's say you did 5 a day. Let's say you just did 5 a day. Now, doing 5 a day is what? It's easy to do and it's easy not to do.
It is.
And that's why you need to read the compound effect. Because if you read the compound effect, you'll understand why 5 a day will make you a fortune. So you need to read the compound effect. But I think that's a really, really good idea is to don't forget about holistic therapists, because you can do it online. And it's not that it doesn't work offline. We did actually introduce people. I went out with Paula in Glasgow. I went out with Tracy in Leamington Spa, and she did enroll people from that day out. And I also went to York and did it with a girl in York. So it does work if you go and do it offline, but it took me all day. I could have contacted 5 people online in about half an hour or 20 minutes, but that took me the whole day to get those people.
But Neil, I do believe we have a lady in the team, do we not, that came in, and I think she's called Vicky Gotham.
Yes, that was the result.
That was right, and Vicky came in. I think Vicky's not far off. She's not far off Premier.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
And she absolutely loves the business. She is.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's therapists. So remember, what we're talking about here is things that we can do during the month of November and probably December, because they're the best 2 months of the year, and they're coming up fast. We've just had our best month in business since we've been in doTERRA in October, but we know we're going to beat that in November. So these are things that you can do right now to really, really get momentum in your business. So we've talked about quite a few things, and hopefully you've taken some notes. But just before we finish, I just want to pause and let's come back to 2 things I'd like to come back to, Peter, actually. First of all, we talked about targeted advertising. And do you agree with me that in the month of November, in particular, it is worth increasing your targeted lead generation?
On your list.
Okay. Because if we accept that November is going to be the biggest month, there's going to be more volume generated in November than any other month this year. The more people you introduce in November, the bigger momentum you will get in your business. So just comment briefly on
well, Jim Rohn says you've got to turn your sail into the wind. The wind is there, you've got to catch it. Okay, so it's like, strike while the iron's hot. If ever if you're going to go and fly a kite, you want to go and fly a kite when it's going to be windy, right? So right now we know historically this is the best month. So it makes sense, whilst we're talking about these things as well. Even if you're only increasing your ads by a pound a day or £2 a day, whatever you do that increases, then you're going to put yourself in a much better position. There's absolutely no 2 ways about that, Neil, 100%. And I think also there's a couple of other things I've got on my list quickly. So I would definitely recommend you do that. I would also say, those of you who've obviously now got your Facebook pages, if you actually go onto your page and where it says, ask your friends to share, it's amazing how many of your friends probably won't have even shared your page yet. It's amazing. I was like, oh my goodness, I sent out about 68 just the other day and asked them if they wouldn't mind, liking your page and things like that. So again, get people to like your page. Okay, I think that's really, really important. Okay, and put some good content on your page, because you'll notice. I looked at one of my one of my posts there the other day, and it had 68 shares. 68 shares. That's 68 people putting it out on their timeline. Someone seeing that post, look, and they had loads of people click like, and that means that you're going to get more people who like your post. And then Facebook's clever. If someone likes your post, it gives you a little thing where you can then click to invite them to like your page. Yeah. Okay. And I just look at all the people who've clicked like, and then I click invite. That many invite. Okay. And then of course you're pulling more people into following you, and they get notifications. Yeah. And then of course you can put a little post out there saying, if anyone's interested to find out more about essential oils, we're running some classes this week. Click on this link. You know, and you can get a lot of people who you didn't previously have following your page, yeah, now potentially coming on to classes. So I think that's a real good idea as well.
Yeah, it certainly helps your page rank, making sure you get good content on your page, and increasing the likes. It improves. Facebook has lots of algorithms which affect your page rank, and that will affect in turn any paid advertising that you're doing. So all of that stuff you need to address really as consistently as you can. And what I do, I put a video in the group about this. When I schedule content, I do it for a month at a time. That's what I do. I get up early on a Sunday morning, I take about 2 hours, and I schedule a whole month's content. So there's new content going onto the page every single day. It's really, it's a good little tip for you. So I just want to finish, Peter, on, I have to come back to what Charles talked about. When Charles and Tina, when they talked about, they made a decision and that nothing was going to change unless they changed it. And they talked about things like being persistent, where they had all those people, ridiculous amount of people, 160 people go on Zooms and no one joined. And they talked a lot about their belief that it would work. And I wrote down persistence, belief, and character is the three things I wrote down when I was listening to them. And I thought just to finish this session, because you can talk about strategy. We've talked a lot tonight about how to do certain things and different strategies to create leads, but it won't work unless we have the belief and the persistence and the attitude that Charles mentioned, attitude specifically. So I thought that would be a good thing to finish on in the last couple of minutes. Okay,
well, firstly, Neil, I mean, you and I are both down in Northampton on Friday, and we're actually at a business building event. And interestingly enough, one of my first slides, I actually show 4 pillars. And those 4 pillars are belief in the product, belief in the company, belief in yourself, and belief in the systems. And I believe that they all need to be in place. But when you first start, you don't always have belief in the product because you're still yet to have your experiences. You don't always have belief in the company because you haven't been around it long enough to kind of see it for yourself through your own eyes. And often belief in yourself is something that really is probably the most trickiest thing to actually work on, okay? But one of the things I think is really important is how you can improve your belief when you don't have a lot of it yourself. And I think a lot of that comes from the power of association. It's like the people you kick about with, who you spend most of your time with, okay? So, for example, anyone who's on this call tonight and who might not normally come on, they can't fail to be inspired. There's some education, there's some inspiration, okay? You're kicking around with people who have positive mental attitudes, people who are very clear and focused and believe in the product, believe in the company, believe in themselves, and believe in the systems. And if you just take a step back, if you don't have that belief and you observe, you get to see other people who are and have trodden the path before you, you know, and really, you know, that is the evidence, really, that whilst it might not be working for you right now because you've just stepped into it and you haven't really got any results, you haven't done a great deal, so you haven't got a great deal, it's nice to be able to look and see others who are achieving the success. So it's that old adage, isn't it? If others can do it, why not you? So you get social proof from seeing other people, and that helps to develop your belief levels. I think Charles nailed it as well, and you've talked about the books, personal development. You know, these are people who've trodden the path before us, understand our industry, understand, you know, what you need to be aware of, you know, and what's normal and what's not. And when you read these books, you take a certain comfort from realizing, yeah, I can relate to that. Yeah, that's right. Or, all right, they say that's normal. Okay, that makes a difference. I thought it was just me. And that helps to, it's like another layer. If you imagine an artist like Delene, at first when she starts putting a little bit of on the canvas, it don't look much. And then you put a little bit more on and it's starting to take a bit shape, and you put a bit more on. And as each layer goes on, it becomes more visible to what the outcome is that you're working towards, okay? So the personal development, the power of association is really, really important. And I think, you know, stick close to your upline, your sponsor, the one who is sharing the gift, the one who's feeling enthusiastic in coaching and mentoring. Stay close to them and feed off their energy and excitement and knowledge.
Okay, there's one more. There's one more which is related and associated with personal development and the power of association, which is attending and promoting events. And I wanted to ask you to pass on all the people on this call. It's quite often it's all the usual suspects. It's the people that come on every week that are really committed and they drive the business. And I know most of them, or if not all of them, have already probably booked into the next big event that we're running in Stratford upon Avon in January. But I wanted you to talk specifically about becoming a leader and how they promote events to the people in their teams, because this is really key as well as your team evolves. This is one of the central building blocks that drives the business, is how good you become at promoting events to other people. So just in the last 60 seconds, because we're in danger of running, just finish on how they can in November, like, make a difference to their team in promoting.
Well, Neil, you know, first and foremostly, we put this event on for people in the UK. We go to a lot of time and effort to put it on. We put it on because we have it in January, right at the beginning of the year. And that's so that we can help people to turbocharge their business, how to get their mindset right, how to get some strategies in place. And that's social proof and people coming together at an event and getting the education, getting inspired, getting informed. You know, attending events will not make you successful, but every successful person attends events. So the success leaves clues. And I absolutely believe that if you are living in the UK, then you should attend this event that we have running in Stratford. You should book the event. One of the things that holds people back, you know, from success is am I going to do it? Am I going to get round? Am I going to do it next week? Am I going to get started? You know, it's procrastination. You know you need to be there. All the successful people will be there. You need to be there. Book your ticket. And here's the challenge. Do it between now and the weekend. Neil will promote. Do it. Book it. Be there. Now, you can't promote something to the people in your team and speak with any degree of authority, enthusiasm, and conviction unless you've booked your ticket. Now, if you've booked your ticket and you're going to be there, would you like your team all to be with you? Do you want, how many times have we been along to an event and we thought, wow, that was amazing. I wished I'd brought loads of my team with us because they would have experienced what you've just experienced. Well, you can book your ticket and reach out to your team and pick the phone up and tell them that you're going to go there. Tell them how fantastic it is it's going to be that we get a chance to meet and spend some quality time together. Talk about your dreams and your goals and your aspirations for the new year, and use this meeting as a pivotal point in making 2020 everything that you want it to be. But it starts with you. Just like this whole business, network marketing, it starts with you, but it continues with people. And we know this from our combined 40 years in this industry, Neil, how absolutely key critical it is, because your business success will be determined by the number of people who buy into and attend and become part of these key critical events.
Yep, absolutely right. Fantastic. So there's a good point to finish on. So not only do you have to book the event, which I know a lot of you already have, but you also need to reach out to people in your team and promote the event to them. So it's because usually you can gauge the growth in your business by the number of people you have attending events. In other words, if you have 10 people sat with you in your team in Stratford, you'll probably be turning over about 10 grand in volume. But if you're there on your own, it's hard work. So you've got to reach out to the people that you introduce and get them to Stratford, and that will begin to shape you and develop you as leader. And I know we're in the UK here, and if you're in South Africa, it's a long way to come. But be my guest, and get a fight over if you can. But it's really for people in the UK, and we recognise that it's obviously there's.
But everyone on this call tonight, if you are in the UK and you have any aspiration for changing 2020, making 2020 better than 2019, if you've got any aspiration to rank advance, you want to develop the income, you need to be at Stratford. Please book. Do it within 3 days. Set your intention as a leader. It starts with you, and then enthusiastically encourage your team to do the same. Now, Neil, there's one more thing I need to share with you before we finish. One more thing.
Go on.
You'll be pleased I did. Okay. You'll be very, 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 very pleased that I did.
Sure?
As will everybody else. Here we go. Now, Christmas is approaching. We know that. And we all go out there and we all spend money on our family, our friends, our loved ones, relations, and we sometimes think, and what will we get them? Well, I want to introduce you to a very, very, very well thought through strategy, okay, for you to introduce doTERRA to your family and friends. Look at this. Now, Claire made these up today. Look, it could be a couple of bottles of oil. It doesn't have to be expensive ones. Over the season, I thought we'd put Zengest in there because people are going to have upset tummies and things like that because they're going to be overindulgent. And look, Claire put these 2 little bottles. We got a little bit of this lovely, like, clear cellophane wrapper with a little polka dots on. And we got that off eBay. We got a couple of these ribbons. We made that up and we took a photo of that. Okay. Also, you've got one for deep blue. So it might be someone who you know has arthritic pain and things like that. And look, there's a one there. With the amazing and very indulgent doTERRA soap with the toothpaste. Now, here's the thing, right? Don't go spending your money thinking, going to the shopping centres and thinking, what will we get for Mary? What will we get for John? What will we get for Anne and Bella? You've got access to the most amazing products. Now, here's the clever thing about it, okay? Work within your budget. You know that there's products that you can get. When you put the cellophane on it, you put the ribbon, it transforms it, okay? Makes all the difference. You can give it the gift to them, okay? And then you can even give them a little bit of advice on how they might want to use that, okay? And then you can follow it up at some point and say, hey, did you use the oils? Have you tried them yet? Have you done this? Wow, they were amazing. They were this, they were that. You then have an opportunity to then invite them to come onto a class, you know, but I believe, and I put it to you, that some of the people that you give these gifts to, okay, will register with you and will ultimately become long-term customers, okay? So that's just us making that up there today. And I'm going to let you have a look and see them live, okay? So if you want to see, like on the screen, at the top, you'll see a little button that says like speaker, and it makes the screen big. Okay, that's one of them there. Okay, there it is there, all made up, all lovely. You can see the size of that. There's the one. I love this one. I think it looks so cute and so dinky. Okay, and it's such a lovely little gift, especially when you explain to people what it is. And there we have the deep blue. So, you know, consider doing that. Have a look at some of the products. Get yourself a little bit of wrapper on eBay and a little ribbon. You can make anything look really, really special. Okay, so anyway, that's me done, and I'll pass you back to Neil.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Peter. So we have overrun a little bit. Apologies for that. But just to quickly say a big, big thank you, first of all, to Darlene Stain from South Africa for coming on and doing an amazing testimonial. Absolutely brilliant. I really appreciate that, Darlene. Thank you for doing that. And also, big, big thank you to Charles and Tina, new premiers, leadership rank. Fantastic. Great testimonial. Really good information shared with the team, and I hope people will rewatch this recording because there's been loads of really, really good content tonight. And big thanks to Peter, as ever, his best month in business, fully deserved, and more to come. Watch this space next month. So thank you very much for coming on, everyone, and I'll stop the recording there, and we'll see you all very soon.